What's up guys, Nightingale here, and welcome back to another Beginner's Handbook video. Today, we're going to be doing the first appended video to the series. What this basically is going to be doing is, it is now February 6th, 2022, and I feel like it's time to update a little part of the handbook and put a video now in between this. So, for those new players that are watching the video, typically the Beginner's Handbook was designed to be watched from front to back in order. So now will be the first time I'm making a new video and interjecting it in between some videos, because I feel like now things have changed and I would like to give you some more up-to-date information, especially regarding today. We're talking about the Moonlight Blessing. So I've got 3 different versions of BlueStacks pulled up right now so that I can show you everything, because my main account right here has already done that and it's completed, so I can't show you anything from here. So I'm using some of my alternate guild accounts to be able to go over this stuff. So what we're going to basically cover today is we're going to go over the Moonlight Blessing Heroes, how to get them, and which ones are the best ones to use. So again, this is from a new player's perspective, not a veteran player who is been playing for 3 years, has almost every ML5 and things like that. We are going to be giving it to you coming from how a beginner should probably look at this from a brand new player coming into the game. All right, so let's go over right here. I believe it is this one. Here we go. All right, so real quick. You will see Moonlight Blessing over here on the far right of the screen. This gets unlocked after you beat the first chapter of Adventure. So, you come in and, let's see here, can I get into, here we go. Or maybe because I haven't beat the story yet, it's not letting me go back. Anyway, you beat Ezra right here. So if we move back. So as soon as you finish beating 110, which will be this fight right here, you will now have access to Rengar. And then once you've come to Rengar, you will want to go back out, go to lobby, and now this icon over here should be activated right here. And at this point, this is where you get to select your free ML5. Now, this came with the Rise update, which was super, super awesome. This is a massive jumpstart for new players. Now, here's the thing. Are all these units technically good in their own rights? Yes. But in reality, there are going to be a few that are going to stand out over the others. And what we're going to do is we're going to briefly and quickly cover them and talk about their actual kits. And then we'll go into diving deeper into which one of these are the ones to pick. And then we're going to cover the actually how to unlock this hero, because this isn't just selected and it's yours. You got to go through a process of unlocking them. So here we go. So Judge Kise is the first one on the list here, and she is a light warrior. Her S3 is attacks all enemies by distorting space and time before a 60% chance to dispel 1 buff, increase skill cooldown 3 times by 1 turn, and grants skill nullifier once to the caster. Damage dealt increases with more enemies. So this is an AoE skill. And it's pretty nasty to be able to reset people back. It's actually pretty cool. This was actually my first ML5 coming into the game, by the way. Her S2 is attacks all enemies with a scythe, decreasing hit chance for 1 turn. It's a decent AoE skill. And then you have attacks with a scythe with a 35% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. For those of you who don't understand, defense break is basically a debuff that goes in and it cuts your defense by 70%, allowing you to deal a lot more damage a lot more often. Now, here's the thing though, this is a 35% chance. Looks like it would be 45% chance when it's fully leveled up. So you're not gonna get it too often, but I mean, it did decent damage overall. Really, you're using this for the S3 and the S2. That's really what she's here for. The next one is Arbiter Vildran, who is a dark thief. Now, RB has a whole lot of history here in Epic 7, but we're not going to cover that. We're just going to talk about his basic skills real quick. So, Dark Blade is his S3, and it attacks all enemies, decreasing hit chance for 2 turns. When focus is full, consumes it all, increasing damage dealt. When the enemy is defeated with this skill, cooldown does not occur. So if he kills somebody, this can be used again. Alright. Now his passive. Now this is actually what really makes Arby is this and his S3. So upon receiving lethal damage, so it kills him, he regenerates 70% to a max of 100 when this thing's fully leveled up, increases combat readiness of the caster by 100%, so he'll die, and normally once you die and you res a unit, they're at the back of the line. No, he's coming back and he's going to go first. And then fully recovers caster's focus, so he'll have his full focus, and resets skill cooldown of Dark Blade. So if this is on cooldown, this will be now off cooldown. Arby's whole mantra has been die, or to, kill, die, and come back and kill again. Now his S1 is actually really good as well. Rapidly attacks 2 enemies with a sandstorm, decreasing their combat readiness by, let's see, that's 15%. So it's got a little bit of a combat readiness pushback, which is helpful in certain aspects of the game because it will push them back, so you might be able to get another turn. Overall, because this skill is AoE and this hits 2 enemies, he's been a decent AoE farmer for a while. Dark Corvus is a dark warrior. Probably one of the cooler warriors in the game. So this one's going to get into the niche category, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So Dark Corvus attacks with a lethal hit, recovering health proportional to the damage dealt. Damage dealt is only affected by the caster's health and does not trigger a critical hit. Begins the battle with a full skill cooldown count, meaning without that Mola, that is a 9-turn skill cooldown up to an 8-turn skill cooldown. So basically, this skill is going to hurt when it goes off, which is why they're letting it take so long to ramp up, because this can annihilate people. Now, his passive is, at the moment the caster is attacked, the caster has a 70% chance 80, 90, 100% chance their skill cooldowns to be decreased by 1 turn, or 2 turns if the caster, in the case of a critical hit. So now this is how Dark Corvus gets around that extremely long cooldown. Is if he just gets hit, it's 1 turn cooldown reduction. If he gets hit with a critical hit, it's a 2 skill turn down. So this isn't really 9 turns, considering if he's taking damage. Now, his S1 is attacks the enemy with a shield and absorbs some of the damage as health with a 50% chance, 50, 60, 75% chance to provoke for 1 turn. The damage dealt increased proportional to the caster's health. So Dark Corvus is one of those units, basically, you just full send into health, and he's a super bruiser, basically. But we'll talk about him more in detail in a few minutes. Next up is Rouel of Light, which is a light soul weaver. So these are your healers, basically. Alright, so Rouel of Light, her S3 is probably one of the best heals in the game. So it revives one dead ally with healing magic, recovering all of their health before granting them invincibility for 1 turn. Now, for those of you who don't know, invincibility neutralizes all of the damage taken when attacked, meaning they will not take any damage. Really cool. And then when the skill is used on a living ally, all of the allies' debuffs will be dispelled before the same effect is applied. So she will dispel all debuffs and then apply the invincibility and fully heal them up. Very, very, very good heal. Now her S2 is summons a light pillar, summons a light pillar dispelling all debuffs from an ally before recovering their health and granting them a barrier for 2 turns. The amount recovered and barrier strength increase proportional to the caster's max health. Now, Rouel will suffer a little bit between, do you build her with higher health or higher speed, better defense? There's a whole lot that goes into her build. So that heal is going to vary depending on the heal, and the barrier will depend on how you end up building her later on down the road. But overall, depending on no matter what build you build, that's still a great skill. And then Key to an Oath attacks the enemy with a staff before healing an ally with the lowest health. Damage dealt increased proportional to the caster's max health. The amount recovered increased the The damage is, oh my gosh, this is a tongue twister, and I'm having to read my type. So, damage dealt increased proportional to the caster's max health, so she will deal the damage based off of her max health, and then she will recover their health to the allies, proportional to the allies' max health. It's a little bit wording, but basically, it's a decent heal. It's enough to keep you in a fight, but it's not enough to bring you back from getting screwed over. All right, Martial Artist Kin is another dark warrior. They love their dark units here. So, Martial Artist Kin is a very interesting unit. He's got a very unique kit. So let's start with what makes him ML Kin. So let's start with his passive first. Increased effective resistance by 30% and has a 30% chance to counterattack when attacked, with a 100% chance to counterattack with Dragon Flame after suffering a critical hit. Dragon Flame, the skill, makes a critical hit, dealing damage proportional to the caster's lost health when the Coming of Azra is available. According to the cooldown count, increases combat readiness of the caster by 25%. This attack receives effects that are applied to the basic skill. Okay, so I'm going to put this into layman's terms. When this skill is on cooldown or off cooldown, it has, depending on where it's at, it'll increase the caster's combat readiness by 25%. This skill takes the stats applied from this skill, which is Knockout, which batters an enemy with a 50% chance to decrease attack for 1 turn. But the way this works is the stats in this is getting applied to the extra stats into this skill. So, which is pretty cool. And then his overall S3, which is cool. It's a really cool animation. Attacks all enemies with a powerful ground pound with a 55% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns, increase attack of the caster for 2 turns, and a successful attack will always result in a critical hit. Now, what makes ML Kin so annoyingly hard to build is because it is a massive gear gap in how you have to set this up. Because he doesn't need critical chance, it allows you to stack into critical damage. Now, because the way his passive works, you're trying to get people to have him take damage so that he will now deal damage and he will counterattack into critical hits. And then also now with the way things work today, you now have to put a crap ton of ER into him so he doesn't get debuffed and can't be controlled and is allowed to do his job. So he's a very interesting unit overall, but I would have to say, when looking at their overall kits, he's probably got one of the most interesting ones. She probably has one of the next most interesting ones, because it's a unique thing. She's the only unit in the game that does this specifically. So, and that is, again, we'll start with her passive, is Nightmare Illusion. When an ally capable of being attacked is still remaining, the caster cannot be selected as the target for the attack. I will say this right now, this is different than Stealth. Stealth is a buff that will be applied to your unit, which will make them unable to be targeted. This is baked into her kit, and as long as one ally remains, she cannot be hit. There are units in the game now who can hit this, or can hit a stealth unit. She is not classified as a stealth unit, so therefore she cannot be attacked. Now, obviously, you can just AoE into her, and yes, you can still hit her. And same for stealth enemies. But in this case, this is a little bit different than stealth. So sometimes people will call this stealth, but it's not really. Okay, so that's part one that makes her kit unique. Now, the other part is how her S1 works. So when her S1 hasn't been used, she will attack with an explosion of poison energy with a 50% chance to inflict poison for 2 turns. The skill cannot trigger a counterattack. This is kind of cool. And attacks 2 enemies when Endless Nightmare is unavailable due to cooldown count, which is her S3. So once she uses her S3, she will go from attacking 1 enemy to 2 enemies with that skill. also a little bit kind of unique for how her setup works. But her S3 is attacks with a Nightmare Crystal, stunning for 1 turn, decreases combat readiness of all remaining enemies by 50% when an enemy dies. Damage dealt is increases proportional to the number of debuffs inflicted on the enemy. So her kit basically is you protect this unit because of her passive, you get her S3 taken on cooldown, and then now she's going to start hitting 2 enemies, 1 enemy at random, 1 enemy that you targeted, and it's an interesting kit. Now, here's the thing, and this is why I decided to remake this video, is because things have changed. The original order that I would have told you that is in the beginner's handbook, and I believe it'll be the video prior to this, is, and it may be the video after, I'll have to go look actually in order. The original unit that was number 1 was Arbiter Vildran. This was the main unit to take. Number 2 unit came in was Spectre Tenebria. And then followed behind that, it was Rouel of Light. And then it became, if you had any one of these 3, the others became open to you depending on who and what you had. Now, this is where we're going to change this today. The new ranking is still Arbiter Vildran at number 1. As a new player, he is going to be the most advantageous unit to your team in the beginning of the game. Now, there are some idiotic YouTubers and Twitch streamers out there that are telling you to hold on to this, then once you hit late game, you undo this and then pick another character. No. Don't do that. That is stupid advice. Go ahead, get this unit, get it decked out. Yes, it's going to be a very long time before Rouel and Spectre Tenebria get rerun. At this point, I think we can even say it's safe to say Judge Kise is also very taken off the list of it's going to be quite a while before she gets run. But ML Ken and Dark Corvus are actually technically coming up to where they could be rerun soon. Actually, Arbiter Vildran, as of right now, which is again February 6th, 2022, is slated to be coming up in about 3 weeks is the estimated time, due to how the real-time arena gets their skins and stuff. He's slated to get a skin for the ending RTA season, and it's either he gets it now or in 6 weeks from now he would be getting out. And if it went 6 weeks, it would be very long. So there's a good chance Arbiter Vildran's going to get rerun, which will help make this potentially even spicier for some new players. If you happen to roll an account that has Arbiter Vildran, you get to start with Rouel. Now, here's the thing. Starting with Rouel is great, starting with Stenny is great, starting with Arby is great. But now here's why I pick Arby as number 1. Arbiter Vildran will help you in many different aspects of the game. 1, he's going to help you with the overall farming of the game. Going through the story, clearing things out, getting AoE. Remember, his passive. He dies, he comes back, and he's able to S3 with full focus and everything. So this will help you out because it will give you extra damage, it'll give you extra overall, like, utility. It's not like once he's dead, and maybe your support unit's already dead, he can come back and still be useful to you because it's full health. His S2 or his S1 is going to be always attacking 2 enemies, and it will be pushing back some of these lighter effect resist mobs and just basic story mobs, which will help you out overall. And his S3 is full AoE, which is great. This will be, where a lot of your damage comes from. So you can use him in story. You can use him in Abyss. You can use him in a lot of the hunts later on. You'll be able to use him in some certain expos, and really just in your general PvP and PvE content, you'll be able to use him. Now, when you get the Moonlight Blessing, you will not be able to put him on Guild War defense, Arena defense, and you will not be able to carry them into RTA. But they are free to be used everywhere else. You can use them in Arena offense. You can use them in Guild War offense. But you just can't put them on their defense slots until they're fully unlocked, and you can't carry them into RTA, which isn't something you should be worried about at all, anyway, coming in as a new player. Next up, number 2, and why I've picked Rouel, and why Stenny has fallen off, is because with the amount of... There are several units, which we're not going to go into a lot of detail, but there's a lot of units that have come into the metas recently that have made me feel like Stenny dropped down, now making the number 2 choice, Rouel. because one of the things that I see the most from new players is they're struggling in Guild Wars, Arena, and RTA. One easy fix for that is Rouel. Rouel is really one of the best soul weavers in the game. Now, also to put this into perspective, she is also a higher skill handicapped unit, because you need to understand when to actually use these two skills. When to use Light Pillar and when to use Light Ascending. This isn't just something, oh, I've lost a little health, I'm going to use the heal. Or I'm going to just save this to revive a unit. There will come times where what will determine the win will determine where the skill gets used, because you can use it to block important damage on a unit. You can use it to bring an ally back that will win you the fight. It can be used as just an overall big heal if you absolutely need it and nobody needs to be rezzed, then yes, you can use it as a big heal. Her S2 is probably the one you'll be using more, because it's more of the earlier protection. You're going to be healing them a good bit. It's not it's not full heal, but it will be a good heal. The barrier does help keep you in the fight. So it's not bad. And I will say this, the soul burned version of her S1 will actually do an insane amount of healing, which also can help her keep her in the fight. So while she has a higher skill cap, it will help you in a lot of different content. Now, yes, she's going to be useless to you in farming because she does no damage. She's a healer, she's a supporter. Will she help you in certain Abyss fights? Yeah. Will she help you in Expos? Not at all. Will she help you in hunts? Nope, not at all. You could say she might be helpful in a hunt or two. You could probably make a team work, but in reality, there are better people for that job. So, Rouel definitely takes the number 2 spot because of everything I've been seeing with new players. I feel this is the second best choice if you just don't want Arbiter Vildran. Now, number 3, and why she fell out, is because there's a lot of units now that are AoE, full AoE reach, that shut down a lot of different things. Yes, she's still useful. Yes, she's still good. But Spectre Tenebria requires a pretty substantial chunk of gear to make her really good. And this is what a lot of people don't talk about. They're just like, oh yeah, it's easy as getting this. No, it's not. It's a little more difficult for a new player. She is okay for farming when she comes into the story mode. She's not like RB levels of stupid where she can't AoE everything. So her S1 is single target, and it will always be single target. Her S1, depending on where she's at, is going to be a 2 attack or a single attack. And yeah, sure, it will help. As enemies die, as her passive ramps up, she gets more damage, which is great. But with the AoE reach now that is out there, and the way she's been built, there's no real advantage right now as a new player to take her. But I mean, I get the waifus over meta thing, and we're not even talking meta here, because Arbiter Vildran isn't meta anymore. He's just a very good pick for you guys, new players. He's one of the best units, because one build will work in so many different things for you. And I'm being serious. One build will work in the hunts, in expos, in labyrinth, in story mode, and PvP, and just in any aspect of the game where he will actually end up fitting. In the early game, he will work for you, which is why he is truly and still will be number 1. I've had more people come to me after I I wouldn't say forced, but really got on him and really tried to force my opinion on them to roll off of Spectenny. They eventually came back, and when they finally did it, they said, I'm so glad I rolled to Arbiter Vildran over her. I've had fewer people do that, where I will go over and over and over preaching on how Arbiter Vildran is the better of the two. And I've had a few people saying, you know what, I would rather have Stenny. Okay. And I've had few of those, but I've had more come from Spectre Tenebria and switch over to Arbiter Vildran. Now, the one thing I should say that we do need to talk about is you do have the ability to reset this unit once. Meaning, if you start the game, and this is where those YouTubers and Twitch streamers were talking about, if you pick a unit, you go through a certain amount of the process, and you haven't completely unlocked the unit, you can go back, reset the blessing, and you can choose a unit one more time. You'll get all your stuff refunded back. Everything will still stay unlocked to where you'll have to go just click the locks and it'll come back through. But you can start the unit one more time. I don't recommend doing this unless you are going to switch over and be happy with your choice forever, because once it's done, that unit is now yours. So if you rolled a Spectre Tenebri and you started with Arbiter Vildran, or you started with Rouel, or you happen to pick ML Ken or Judge Kise or Dark Corvus, and you're gonna roll this, keep in mind, this is a final decision, so do sit on it a while. If your account is brand new and you've just rolled Cigarette and you just picked this unit, you could re-roll another account, try them both, and see which one you like for a while. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you've got some investment in the game, don't do it. Try to hang in there as long as you can, but if you feel like my advice has been enough to sway you, it is a one-time roll, okay? All right, so another couple things that I just want to bring up is we will talk about Judge Kise is kind of now a gear-intensive unit, but I used her as a farmer in the beginning of the game. I didn't have Arbiter Vildran. I happened to start with Judge Kise, and how I started with it is I did my selective summon that you guys just did. There was an event that had 10 free single pulls, and in one of those 10 free single pulls, I got Purple Sparks, and she showed up. So I was very blessed on my account to start with Judge Kise. Now, I used her as just a farmer. But now her PvP status has changed. Some people like her, some people don't. Some people think she still needs a buff, even though she just got one. I am one of those people. I think she needs actually a rework to fit better. I believe with the way her original unit works, which is Kise, which is an ice unit, to her Moonlight variation, I feel like there is some stuff that they could do, but it needs to be a complete top-to-bottom rework. But she's not a bad unit. I just think there are better units than her. As far as Dark Corvus, this is a Guild Wars specialty unit. You can technically use this in PvP in, let's say, Arena and RTA, but more importantly, this is typically a Guild War unit, and this is a very safe win. But you've got to know how to play him. You've got to understand what fights to not take him in, because remember, this is based off of his HP. So there's a set, and there are units out there which apply injury, which reduces their max health, which is basically effectively taking his health down and taking his damage down. As far as Martial Artist Ken, I do not recommend him. Yes, you will find videos out there where people are swearing up and down and selling accounts for absurd amounts of money back in the day because ML Ken was the most god unit in the game. He is no longer that. He takes an insane amount of gear to start with. He is not a starting character at all. Just get in the game and hope you get him later on. But do not pick him out of this because there are much better options throughout here. So now let's finish up the video real quick with talking about how to unlock the blessing. So here you go. I'm going to move this. If I can grab it. Oh, I've got it locked. That's why I won't do it. Ha, that would help. I was wondering why that wouldn't work. So here we go. And we'll make it bigger right here. All right. So here you go. So this is once you've selected a unit and you click on it, this is now what's here. Now I'm going to walk you through this really quick because this is a little confusing, but this is how it should go. So we're going to start with the top left up here, which is 6-star promotion. So what this requires is you need to reach level 60 with 2 heroes, meaning you will have to 6-star 2 of your starting units, which I have a very strong suggestion on what to do. It's up to you on which 2 you pick, but it is one of these 2 that goes first in this, which is you're going to 6-star your Cigarette, and you're going to 6-star your Wyvern tank. So it can be General Purgus if you happen to start with him. It can be Angelica if you start with her, or it can be Montmorency if you want to start with her. Personally, It doesn't matter if it's Sigrid or the Wyvern tank. Some people like having their tank first. Some people like having their damage first. I was damage first, and that's just where I'm standing. Then the third 6-star you do on your account is this. So that's 1, 2, and 3. I always get asked, what is the next 6-star I should do after 6-starring Sigrid? Wyvern tank, Moonlight Blessing. So Wyvern DPS, Wyvern tank, and then Moonlight Blessing. That is 1, 2, and 3. Now, next, which will actually be something you'll get beforehand, which is the 5-star Awakening, which is awaken 3-star units or higher, so 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star units to 5 stars. So, this is not, and nor is this, proactive. Meaning, this has to be opened and ready before you 6-star your first unit. So if you've already 6-starred a couple units, that won't pop as soon as you open this. If you already have 5-star awakened heroes, this won't pop. This has to be done once he's been selected. So we had units ready to go when they first released this. They were ready to be 6-starred, ready to be 5-star awakened, all ready to go. The only thing that's proactive is Gold League. If you've ever reached Gold League and you are a returning player and watching this, if you've reached Gold League 1 or Master 5, basically, which if you do hit Gold 1, just push to Master 5. This will be the only thing proactive, and the skill enhancement will be the only thing proactive. These two here have to be done with the blessing ready. Now, so here's what this means. 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star heroes need that 5th star, so you can get them up to 4 and just wait to hit their 5s. That's all that's saying, but you need to do 3 of them. So Arbiter Vildran would be the 4th. Now, unit that you would do on your account or wherever you're at. He would be the next one after this is unlocked. Now, as far as reaching Gold 1 in Arena, this will take you a little bit of time to do. But it's okay, it's a progression thing. This is what most people stop at for a while, honestly. Because you don't technically need him on your Guild War defense. And honestly, if he is, he's kind of a hindrance anyway, and it's gonna give them a free win. It's really easy to stop this guy, unfortunately. So putting him on the defense isn't great, as I even have him on the defense team right now, which is actually kind of funny, but, you know. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't worry about it. But yeah, he's not really good on defenses, and the obtain all region rewards in chapters and all chapters in unrecorded history. So you need to beat all of episode 1, and then they're just going to unlock the epilogue. You need to 3-star absolutely every stage and the S stages. If you've already done this, you need to click into a stage. I don't think you need to start it, but then when you back out, this should be done if you've already done all 3 stars. I think I had it happen to me the day that this happened. I already had it all 3-starred. But it wouldn't unlock immediately, and I had to go into unrecorded history, and then I think I started a stage, backed out, and then this was unlocked. I don't remember exactly how it was, but I know there was a hiccup, and we've even had to help a person or two come in on stream who's had this issue. So just click into it, maybe restart the game if this is the case. But if you do it naturally, because you'll be starting with it unlocked, where we've already done the content at the time when this was unlocked, this should be there. So it's really easy to do. And then the final step is the gold, or the padlock right here. What this will do is, once everything's done, all the chains will be broken, and then when you click this, it will actually summon the unit. You will get the purple spark book animation and all, and it'll actually register in your account as a summoned unit, completely done, which is cool. So it's not like you got to redo it. It's going to actually summon the unit to your game. Once that padlock is complete, the reset ability is gone. Once that padlock has been clicked, the reset can no longer be reset. Personally, I say if you like the unit and it's been doing you well, go ahead and take it, because the worst case scenario is you're going to get Moonlight coins, or Galaxy coins, which will help you buy ML5s later down the road. They're also known as whale coins, because only whales typically get dupe ML5s. But I see many free-to-play players in the Discord coming in here posting where they've pulled 2 of an ML5 back-to-back in a 10 pull, or they get it in a random daily summon or off a Galaxy bookmark. There are many things coming up for that. But in the case that you happen to be watching this and Arbiter Vildran or Rouel or Stenny or any one of these units that you are mainly looking at initially picking, if they are on banner, you can start with them. And if you pull them, you can reset them to the other option. But I will again sum this up saying, Arbiter Vildran is still the #1 choice for every new player. Rouel is now the #2 choice for new players. If they start with Arbiter Vildran in some shape, form, or another, whether you've pulled him on the Mystic banner or you've got him through a daily summon, or however you start and he's already on your account, maybe you're a returning player and now this is available, Rouel is now the #1 choice at that point. And if you really are wanting to go to Stenny and you just are obsessed with the way she works and the way her kit works, she is the #3 option. Everything else is spice. Just what do you want different on your account? Just know that Dark Corvus requires some kind of special gear, MLkin requires a lot of gear, and Judge Kise really kind of has to have some specific gear now for her kit and setup. But yeah, with that, if you guys have got any questions, feel free to hit me up down in the comments below. I will try my best to help you guys out with making decisions. And again, it really comes down to how do you want to play and how do you want to progress. So that'll be it for now. So take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.